All right, so AI web development workshop. I'm Jeremy Fritzhand, as you know, from VentureStudio at Ahmedabad University. We're going to try to finish up most of this this workshop in about 2 hours. There may be some features that don't make it into the final product, but we'll see how far we get. And we'll take it from there. The presentation will be available afterwards too. I'll share the link so that you can all peruse the presentation as well. So just by a show of hands, who here has some coding experience? Okay, quite a few people. All right. So myself, I don't come from like a technical background. I did my undergrad work in psychology and my postgrad in business. And most of my coding experience has come in the last 12 months, actually. Before that, I did basic web development on no-code platforms like WordPress and Shopify, setting up sites through different content management systems that required little to no coding. But in the last 12 months, I've been upskilling myself using the latest AI tools. Most recently, I've been using Claude Code, ChatGPT's Codex, and Gemini CLI, which work in your command line. And those things have accelerated my understanding of both front end and back end development. So before we begin, I just want to set a few expectations here. We're just covering a few of the essentials today. For deeper dives, I suggest that you also do your own learnings online, offline, with experts. I've watched a lot of YouTube videos when I need to learn how to implement new features or fix bugs. Oftentimes, the AI itself you can chat with to figure out what's going wrong with the code. And so the next part is a vibe coding reality check. So first of all, it's great for rapid prototyping, but if you really want like a production grade ready to be rolled out for the masses, for thousands or 10,000s of users, you're going to need actual engineers, software engineers that have experience in both like front end and back end architecture, and then of course security considerations that need to be thought about in terms of your users, in terms of your data, all of those things. If you're thinking of building a platform that's going to be used by a lot of people, you have to think about that. And this vibe coding, these simple prototypes are only going to get you so far. And then, like I mentioned, this is a tool, it's not a replacement. So, software engineers, technically trained developers are really unreplaceable. And so if you are building a system, a software, it's essential that you find someone that you can work with that has that technical background that's going to be able to work with you along the way. If you're a founder, a non-technical founder of a company that's building a software, it's nice to have either a technical co-founder that can serve as the CTO, or if you have the resources to hire someone in that position, that is essential. So the best uses for what we're going to build is, again, these proof of concepts for hackathons, learning yourself how to code. Myself, I've probably built 15 of these basic web apps just to understand how we create architectures, how we create a PRD or a products requirements document. And then the user flows where you're mapping out, once they click a button, where do they go on the screen? Where does the data entry points go in your backend? And then understanding some of the technical aspects along the way. So I'm not going to get into all of the technical terminology. Even myself, I still have a lot to learn. But it seems like there's a lot of people in this room in case you have questions after come on in. After you, after the workshop, if you want to do deeper dives, I think we have a lot of people here that you can connect with and keep learning. So what we're going to be building today, this original presentation, we built a fitness tracker app, but for this iteration, what we're going to build is we're going to build a forum where you can, the user can generate an image using AI and post it onto a forum. And so for that, we're going to have a user authentication. So the user of the website can use their email to sign in. They'll get a link in their email address to confirm their email, and then they'll get into the actual platform, and they'll be able to see hopefully a prompt on the screen that will allow them to enter a description for an image. They click generate, and it posts it onto a forum. And so what's involved there, we're going to have a landing page, we're going to have email notifications, and we're going to try to get to a point where we can publish that. So anybody, if you give a link, they're going to be able to test the application. So we may move a little bit fast here through the workshop. I am recording so you can follow along. If you do have any questions, feel free to raise your hand. I'll do my best to answer them. And so what is our tech stack? So a tech stack is the different technologies or programming languages that you're using in order to build with. So for our planning, we're going to use, you can use ChatGPT, Claude, or Gemini. I'm going to use the ChatGPT 5, and that is, we're using a paid version, but you can also use the free version as well to get you pretty far. For the front end, it's going to be a React and Tailwind CSS. The back end, we're going to be using something called Supabase, which is a pretty low code database system. For the AI coding, we're going to be using Lovable. For the version control, we're going to be using GitHub. And then at the end of the presentation, we probably won't get there, but you can then develop in your local environment using an IDE like Cursor or Windsurf to explore your files, make updates to the code, and we'll see if we get there. So we're going to start off with doing some planning, creating the PRD. We're going to create a design system to understand how it'll look visually. We're going to set up that documentation. We'll open a project in GitHub, and then we're going to build the app on Lovable. We'll set up the database on Supabase. If we get there, we'll do some local development, and then you'll see how to edit some of the code via GitHub. So part one is the planning. Again, like I mentioned, the three big platforms out there is ChatGPT, Claude, and Gemini, and they use natural language so that you can iterate and go back and forth to update your designs. I also like to have a Google Doc, please come on in, a Google Doc open in another window. So I'm pulling the content from the from these AI assistants into a repository of documents that I'll then be uploading into GitHub. All right, so to get started with the app architecture, so just like a house has, a foundation and walls and doors and a roof, your app also has components of it that serve a different purpose. When we talk about authentication, that's how we, prove the users are who they are, and we get them to sign into the application, and each user in the database has a different field attached to them so that we're storing the data separately for each user. The database, again, is where we store all the information. Hosting is the place on the internet, basically, that allows someone to type in a domain, whether it's lovable.dev or Ahmedabad University .edu. And no matter where they are in the world, they can access that website. The front end is when someone enters in that domain in their browser, where they're going. So what they're going to see when they hit enter. So when we talk about a landing page is kind of the front door to your house, or it's actually, what your house looks like on the outside when you're walking down the street. So usually on a landing page, you have what's called a hero section, which is the first section of your website. It has a title, a subtitle, kind of tells you what the website does. There might be a button there to sign in. Usually hovering above the hero section is a link bar. Some people put their logo on that link bar and the links to other pages of the website. As you scroll down on a landing page, especially for a startup, it oftentimes tells you the value proposition of the startup, what it does, who it's targeting, the target users. And then we get into the backend system. So when you click sign in on any app, that's when you start to interface with the backend of the website. So that's something that you don't see as a user usually. And it's where all of the information about the user is stored. It's where all the functions are. So when you enter different fields in a website, it's stored someplace. That's known as the backend. It also has the different functions of the website. If we're using an AI image generator, then it's going to hold those different functions. And finally, we have this email system. So sometimes that's tied up with the backend provider like Supabase. Other times you'll use another platform that will be managing all of your email communications for the users. So breaking down the app, we're going to have a landing page. We're going to have the authentication. We're going to have a dashboard. We're going to have a place where the user enters in a prompt and they get an image that's generated, and then it'll be linked to a forum. So first, we're going to start with the PRD, which is the product requirements document. So this has the clear feature descriptions of your app, the technical feasibilities, and a scope for what the MVP is going to be. So I'll open up a window here, and we're going to map out what the app does. All right, so we are building a online forum where the user will submit a prompt and AI will generate an image that will then index on a forum. For the MVP, we want simple pages without multiple sections. The landing page will have a hero that describes the platform. There will be auth to sign in. Once the user has confirmed their account, they will see a single page screen that asks them to submit an image prompt. After they enter the prompt and the image is displayed, they will click a button that says post to forum or try again. We'll say that only authenticated users can see the forum. Let's say make a PRD for this platform. No additional features. And what we'll do here is we'll click Add Files, and we'll click the Canvas feature on ChatGPT, which will allow us to download the output in Markdown format. And so just for the sake of this workshop, I'm keeping this prompt super simple. But if you're actually doing this for a more robust or feature-rich platform, you will have already wanted to thought about all of the different features, what's going to be phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. And after that, then you probably would review that. You would slim down features, add features, talk about what's going to be in the first version. But for the sake of this workshop, we're just going to do this simple prompt here that talks about just some of the basic features. Yes. Can we get internet access? Yes. Let's see. There's a password there on the screen, on the whiteboard. I don't know if you can see that far, but yes. So so most of the things that we're using, we can use a free version. If you want on Lovable, it's done using like a credit system. So each of the queries cost anywhere from like 1 to 5 credits, which I'll show you here in a minute. They actually have a student rate. So when we get to the slide for Lovable, I'll give you a QR code that you can get 10 free credits, which will bump up. They give you 5 credits, I think, per day just for free. And then if you are a student, they give you 50% off of the monthly plan, which is about it's $12.50 if you are a student. Otherwise, it's about $25 a month for 100 credits. All of the other platforms that we're going to show today there's a free version of, but then they range anywhere from $10 to $25 a month. This will cost, if you use probably around, I would say, $15. What we're building is about a $15 in tokens. So we're going to use also an API for the image generation called Stable Diffusion, and that also offers free credits. So here we see that it's built this PRD document. And we're going to go ahead and copy this. And we're going to open a fresh Google Doc. And we're going to paste this in here. We're going to name the document. And we're just going to review this. So it's a minimal web app where authenticated users enter a text prompt, get an AI-generated image preview, and on one click, post it to a members-only forum. So the goals and the non-goals. Provide a friction-light flow. Sign in, verify, prompt, preview, post to forum. Keep the experience single page per step with no extra sections. Non-goals. No comments, likes, shares, no image editing, no post deletion, no moderation. Users and permission. Visitors unauthenticated can only view the landing page. Authentic users can access the prompt in the forum. Admin role is not even part of an MVP. So the admin role is another really important aspect of any system, or a super admin role, which allows you to manage the users without going into the database. So that provides a front end solution that allows you to manage the users, the gatekeeping. If there's paid features, you can add and delete users, delete content, especially for a platform like this. that would essentially need a lot of moderation because you don't want people posting inappropriate content or trying to break the system. You want to gatekeep if certain parameters are broken. Then we have the core user stories here. So we would go through all this. So it has a lot of information all about this platform. So it looks like just from a couple sentences that I wrote about, the authentication and the features, it's created this products requirements document. It's talked about an information architecture, the page level requirements, function requirements, creating a post, listing the post, access control. So all of these things, if you're curious exactly what they do, then you can, if there's something that you don't understand after you create this document, you can go back to ChatGPT or go back to Google and ask, what does this do in a system? And then you can upskill yourself. You can learn what exactly those features are doing. So I'm not going to go through all of this, but we now have this document in here. I'm going to name this tab, or we'll just call this the AI image forum, and we'll call this the PRD here. And next, we will create a user flow. So user flow diagrams allow you to, before you build, understand what that user's journey is. They land on the website, they click sign in, it brings them to the image prompt, they submit the prompt, they then either click post to the forum or try again, and it takes you through that entire user journey. And what that allows the AI coder to do is to understand that each of those kind of gates that the user is going to go through. The PRD document does a very good job of that. But if you're building a more robust system where there's multiple pathways, multiple user types, if there's an admin, if there's a free version or a paid version, then you're going to want to see what that all looks like in a diagram. And there's a format of diagram called a Mermaid diagram. So maybe you've seen these different flow charts or organization charts where you see. What we're going to see here now is we're going to have ChatGPT create a basic user flow chart for the platform in Mermaid format. We're going to turn off the extended thinking just so we can save a little time here. Yes. I think on the free version, you get a few queries with ChatGPT 5, and then it might downgrade you or might ask you to pay. You can also use, Gemini has a pretty long limit in terms of how many queries you get with their top model until it'll downgrade you to like the Flash model. I think the 2.5 Flash model is the one that allows you to use it for quite some time without getting limited, if at all. Claude similarly has, if you haven't used Claude, that's another one. And you can bounce from platform to platform. Sometimes I have ChatGPT, Claude, and Gemini open just to see what the response differences are. And that's also kind of like something interesting to try out. So you yourself can get a better feel of how those different AI assistants are operating. All right, so we're just gonna copy this and I'll show you real quick the Mermaid chart. So you can go to mermaidchart.com and I'll just paste this in here. Let's see if this will load. While that's loading, what I'm going to do is copy this into the Google Doc. And we'll call this page user flow. And we can see here, so A, visitor lands on the landing page, they click sign in or auth provider, register, sign in. Is the email verified? No, then we go to the verification gate. If after verify, yes, then we go to E, which is the prompt and generate. Let's see if this has loaded. Okay, so here we can see the chart now. So this is the user flow diagram. And if we see here, visitor lands on landing page, click sign in, auth provider, register to sign in, email verified, no, verification gate, please verify your email or resend link. After verify, it goes to the prompt page. Then we have enter prompt, click generate, generation success, no, show error, yes, preview image. Then we go post to forum, post created, yes, no. We go to forum, view latest, option, go to prompt, and we go back to the prompt page. So depending on how many different types of users you have, how many different features you have, this could be, a massive chart that would be taking up like this entire screen here with all of the different flows, all of the different features, all of the different paths of the user. Yeah.
It's image generation from scratch. If you want to have a system where the images can be uploaded and just cleans it up as just like ChatGPT does with some specific inputs, the logo is placed and the stuff is done. It would be some prompts here and there and people do it.
So you would be able to create like a lovable version of what I think the features that you're asking for. So if we said that we want the user to be able to upload an image and add a logo overlay to it, kind of like a basic version of a Canva, right? Then with Lovable, you could probably end up getting to that output. The thing is, once you start introducing those more complicated features where you have to upload, or you want the upload to land on a certain part of the picture, or you want it to drag and drop on the image within the web app itself, those features require a lot more code. And so that's why we're doing something super simple where there's no editing. We're just generating an image and posting it to a forum. But yes, if you thought of another feature that would, something like you just described, we could integrate that into the platform. But we would want to map that out from the beginning. So we haven't mapped out any roadmap here. That's another thing when you're doing, software development or app development, that you want to think about a product roadmap, because every time you change a database structure, it costs a lot of money. And you sometimes have to turn the whole system off while you're updating it, so your users aren't going to get access. That's called the downtime. So if you have downtime and you have users that are paying for something that you've built, they're going to get very upset if they can't sign in and get the value that you promised to them, that they're paying for, even for 5 minutes. And then what happens is something called the churn. Churn is when a customer has either used your system or paid for your system, and then they leave the system. And that's something you want to avoid. And we avoid that by, trying to, again, plan for these features, figure out how to build a system in a way that we can avoid the downtime, and also have somebody technical on our team, that can map all this out. Again, like back to that point that I had in the beginning, if you're a non-technical person, it's so important to find a technical co-founder or have a team. Or if you don't have the team that can plan from the beginning, it's going to create a lot of challenges and obstacles down the road. Sorry? Yeah, so this is, again, I would say we're calling it an MVP here, but it's not even really an MVP. This is kind of a proof of concept. And so if you're building a product, we want to try to at least get to that proof of concept page before, at least to validate the idea. So again, early stage entrepreneurship, one of the most important things is to validate that problem that you've identified and the solution that you're offering. And how do we do that? Well, we talk to customers, we send out surveys, and we want to do that as much as possible before we start building. We don't want to waste our resources building something that we don't think people will like. But nowadays in software, it's becoming so easy to build just even a proof of concept, to test an idea, to generate some interest, that some people are pushing a landing page with a basic feature on it, maybe with a different name than your company, because they don't want to dilute the brand name of whatever they're building. So they'll send some, they'll have some working name for the app, and they'll test that app to see if they're able to get users, testing the platform, getting the feedback, and then they'll take that feedback and then they'll build what they actually wanted to build. Or they'll launch a landing page that doesn't have any of the sign-in or the features. It'll just describe what the features are, and it'll have a sign-up page. And so that's another great way to validate an early stage idea, is to build a wait list. So you describe the ideas, maybe you tease the screenshots about the idea, you get people to sign up while you're building, and then when you finally have that proof of concept or an MVP, you slowly onboard the users in focus groups. So you get a few of them to use it, try out the platform, understand maybe where they're getting lost on the platform, and you iterate based on that feedback. All right, so we're now going down to the design system. So a design system is another thing I wanted to introduce. Yeah, please come on in. The design system is another thing I wanted to introduce you to, which is, how does your platform look and feel? What are the colors? What are the fonts? Are there shadows around the buttons? Do the buttons have curved corners, or do they have sharp corners? And this is where all, having a UX UI designer, comes in. And those people that have studied exactly what users are looking for, what they're used to already seeing in existing apps, how these user flows work, what fonts actually should be linked to certain brands. If you want a serif font or a sans serif font, that's all part of the design system. And if you're, again, building some production grade platform, it's something that has to be thought about. Are the users of your platform, what kind of platforms are they used to be using? What kind of fonts and colors are those platforms using? How do they deal with the user flows? What kind of imagery are they using? What's the language that the app uses to describe the different features? That's all part of this design system. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to say, create a basic design system for the platform. And we'll just keep it simple like that. So I'm going to go ahead and let's see if it lets me scroll up here. I'm going to download this document as a markdown file. And markdown format makes it easy for these AI coding assistants to read the content of the document more so than any other file type. So we're going now up here, we have the PRD. We're going to download that in markdown format. While it's still loading the design system, we'll go over here and we'll talk about a README file. So a README file gives the project documentation. So it gives the overview of the project, the different tech stack, the programming languages that are in the platform, any setup instructions in case you're running that on your local computer versus on the web, all of the different features, and then development notes about the different systems and how they work with each other. So sometimes you'll wait until the platform is a little bit more built out, and then you would generate a README file, which we can do here down the line. So we've now copied those into the Google Doc, so it's not, you know, in a lost chat that we never remember where that chat is on ChatGPT. We've copied it over to our Google Doc here, and we've downloaded them all as markdown files. I suggest again that you create like a project folder on your hard drive to store all of these, keep it organized. You'll thank yourself later to making sure that you don't know where the file has gone or where the instructions were. So if you keep really good documentation about your project, both on your local computer and your cloud, that's always a best practice. All right, so next up is GitHub. Yes.
So deciding on the various elements of the design system.
Yes.
Right? So different types of applications made for different types of DGs would require different sets of design systems. For example, for a fashion application, right, which sells fashion items, you might want to have more lively colors,
yes,
on buttons. For an application which is based on reading or library, like
yes,
or something, you might want to have something that is more grayscale probably, or one maybe focuses more on the content.
Yes.
Right? So is there a resource somewhere on the internet, I don't know, which defines, which maps different kinds of, like the selection of different design elements for different kind of applications and teachings?
I'm sure there is. None come to my mind right off the bat. But, you know, again, you can use one of the AI assistants to understand, hey, what are the best practices for this type of platform for a design system? What kind of fonts match up with my objectives or the sector that I'm in or the users that I'm trying to get? That you can always start with. Or you can even go to Perplexity. Perplexity is great for searching, you know, articles and research even about different types of design systems. So if we go to Perplexity here and we say, make a list of websites and portals that allow me to understand software design systems and which design systems work best for different applications, sectors, industries. So we could do a simple prompt like that on Perplexity, and here it's going to give us a design system gallery, you know, backlight, sector and industry specific design systems. Here's, you know, a design system suited for SaaS, Carbon design system, ideal for enterprise software. And then, you know, Figma is a whole nother platform that you can explore, and people offer their design systems for free, and you can explore those design systems. Even India, the India government has their own, they've released their own design system or their own UX. UX4G. This is the government of India's own design system that they're using across. They're trying to make sure that all of the government of India's apps and platforms use the same design system. So this is also a really interesting platform that you can see the handbook, you can see the design system, you can download the entire design system. You can then index that. You can then interact with it using one of the AI assistants. Especially if you're doing any work with government or you have any government applications, this is something you may want to look into. Is there a question here? No. All right, so we now have this AI image forum design system. Minimal pragmatic tokens and components to ship the MVP fastest with consistent visuals, built on system fonts and utility first. Brand and voice, simple, welcoming, builder friendly, avoid jargon. We have voice examples. We have a logo. We have the color palette here. We have the typography. We have the spacing. We have the radii and elevation and the shadows, iconography, motion, components. And again, if you're interested exactly what does all these things mean, where do they come into place on my website, on my platform, what do they look like, how does that, again, we can go back to one of these, we can prompt Perplexity, give me a basic where can I find a basic overview of design systems? And then we can start back from Design Systems 101, right? If you want to do a deep dive in that, then we go to some of the literature out there about these specific topics. All right, so we're going to copy this. We're going to put it into our Google Doc design system. We're going to paste it in here. We have a record. We're going to go back to ChatGPT and we're going to download the document in Markdown. Okay, and now I think we were on GitHub. So we're going to GitHub. If you haven't signed up, you can. It's a free platform, and this was where you'll store all of your code. And so after you sign in, you can create a repository, which is basically where your files sit, where your all the different information about your system sits. And we're not going to dig too deep into that, but you've got that signed up so that, because we're going to have to link that. Next up is Supabase. So again, Supabase is the backend. It's the database, and they have a very amazing free version. So also GitHub's free, Supabase is free. Even Lovable has that free 5 credits. And then I'm going to give you a code that will give you 10 extra credits to start with. And if you're a student or you have a .edu email address, you can get the 50% off. So I'm already signed in here. I have my dashboard here. I have my plans. I've set it up. Next up is Lovable. So here's the QR code. You don't necessarily have to scan it right now. It'll be there for you afterwards. But that'll give you 10 free credits. Or if you want, you can set up one account, then you can create a QR code with that account, and you can use one of your other email addresses to then give yourself free credits. And then you can use one of your other email addresses to give 10 more credits. And so hopefully you get at least 20, 30 credits you can use to play around with to get started with. And again, like I said, you can search Lovable students, and you get a 50% off here if you go in here. All right, so we're in Lovable now. And the first thing we're going to do in Lovable is you'll see this prompt here. And it's going to say to enter something. What we're going to do is we're going to say, wait for my next command, because we don't want it to do anything, actually. And as far as I know, there's no other way to have it just open a plain project without saying don't do anything and wait for me to do what's next. And so it says, I'm ready and waiting for your instructions. All right. So this is the Lovable interface. And here on the right side, it's spinning up a preview. Here on the left side, we have our chat interface. Again, it's natural language. So you basically tell it what you want to build and it'll build it. And we've just built a lot of information for it to analyze before it starts building. So you're way ahead of some people that are just typing in that first prompt that we had, which was, build an app that does X, Y, and Z. And again, like I had mentioned from the beginning, once we have this PRD, we're not just going to usually put it into the platform. We're going to read through it. We're going to edit it. We're going to remove things that maybe aren't relevant to our platform. We're going to iterate on it. We're probably going to upload it back into our AI assistant and tell us, what do you think about this platform? And then finally, once you're ready with that PRD, then we would move to the user flow. And we would say, based on this PRD, create a user flow for the platform. And then we're going to look at the user flow and understand how those users are going through the sign-in, through the feature set, all of those things. And we're going to edit that. We're going to talk to the AI assistant. Does this make sense? Do you see any obstacles? We're going to iterate on it, edit it. And then we're going to build a design system. So we're going to do all those things one by one, iterating. And then finally, we have the best version of those we're going to start building. So in Lovable, you can change the name of your project by clicking rename. We're just going to call this AI image forum. Let's add a couple dashes in here. Okay, so now we've renamed the project, so it's kind of got a basic name there. Up here in the top right is where we publish, but right next to publish is the GitHub icon. So what we're going to do is we're going to click that and we're going to connect GitHub. We're then going to connect the project to our GitHub account. And what this does is now it takes the entire code and it puts it in your GitHub repository. So if we click this button now, your GitHub repository is ready. We're now in here in our GitHub repository with a basic Lovable project. So if we are curious, what is Lovable? What is the tech stack that we're building here on Lovable? We can now see it right here in GitHub. We can go through all of the files, all of the folders, understand where Lovable starts off. So we've got it there in our GitHub. We're going to go back to Lovable. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to connect our Supabase. And we have to go to settings here. And we go to Supabase. And we're going to click connect project. I created a project called Plug and Play. And now Supabase is connected or is connecting. Your app is now connected to Supabase. All right, so we've got everything connected here. We'll go into our plug and play project. This is what the Supabase interface looks like. So over here on the left, we have all of the different tables, an SQL editor, your database, your authentication. And again, for the interest of time, I'm not going to go into what every one of these things actually means. I would encourage you to upskill yourself and learn at your own pace by Googling or using ChatGPT to understand what each of these parts of a database does, what it means to edit them. And with both Supabase and Lovable, they also have a docs page. So if we go to Supabase docs, this is all of the documentation about how the Supabase platform works. Do you have a question? Okay. So within here, it talks about the database. It talks about the authentication, the storage, real-time, edge functions, all of these different things about what you're actually managing in a database is in the Supabase documentation. So if you ever get stuck, you can come back here, or you can go to Google and check where it is within the documentation. Or look, there's a search bar up here. You can just search. So similarly, if we go to Lovable docs, Lovable documentation. So here we think features, integrations. We even got tips and tricks. What are the best practices for Lovable? Again, I encourage you to learn about each of these platforms in detail. If you're very serious about upskilling and learning about how it all works, the documentation is a great place to go to understand what's under the hood, how it works, what are the best practices. All right, so we've got the GitHub connected. We've got the Supabase connected. And now, yes. Yes. Yes, that's right. So as mentioned here, so we went through this, we made the documentation, just to recap. We made the PRD, we made the user flows, we made the design system. We exported those in Markdown format. Then we set up our GitHub if we didn't have our GitHub account. Then we set up our Supabase if we didn't have our Supabase account. Then we set up our Lovable if we didn't have our Lovable account. We got our extra 30 tokens by gaming the system with our email accounts. We set up our Lovable project. We renamed it. We connected our GitHub. We connected our Supabase. And now we're going to upload our documentation. So I'm going over to GitHub. I'm in my AI image forum page, and I'm going to click Add File. So we're going to upload the file here. We'll start with the PRD. Down here, it's commit changes. All right, so we've committed that one. We're now going to upload the user flows. And last but not least, we're going to upload the design system. There's other documentation. This is all the system documentation that we're building. There's a long list of different system documentation that you would build if you're building a very robust platform, like the database architecture and all, edge functions and all different things that we're just doing the minimum that we can to get started here. But that's another thing that you would want to look into is what's all of the systems documentation that I should create in order to build this platform. So even we could go back to ChatGPT. What are other important documents to create before building this platform? We can ask it, what are those documentations? We'll skip that, see if it gives us a quick answer. Any questions in the meantime? So if you're having trouble, what you can do is you can copy the output. This might not look like this on a free version. What it would look like is at the bottom here is this copy button. So you can click that and we go back to our Google Doc. We created a new tab and we've pasted this into the tab. Then we go to File, Download, MD. So that's another way that you can do that. So we've got the PRD, we've got a feature specification sheets, we have the user stories, we have the MVP scope matrix, which is what is going to be in that first version. We have the technical documents like the architecture overview. What's our tech stack? Are we using Next? Are we using Tailwind, Supabase? Which API are we using for the image generator? Database schemas, and so on and so forth. There's so many different documentations that you can look at when you're building a software. And we're skipping all of those for now, just for the purpose of this. You could check those out. Again, upskill, learn about which ones are important for what you're doing. So where were we? Uploading the documentation. we've got our design system. Okay. So we've uploaded these three designs, three documents here into our GitHub. Every time you upload something into GitHub, it updates in Lovable. All right, and if you wanted to look at where the code is in Lovable, there's also a code icon here. Now, Lovable just introduced a new feature, which is its own backend. So instead of using Supabase, what they're now doing is they're building their own database where these projects are going to be stored. So if you don't connect Supabase, it's going to have you connect the Lovable cloud. And so the Lovable cloud right now, since it's new, it has very minimum features. And I, again, encourage you, if you're new to coding, to check out Supabase because it has very robust features for databases, and you can actually go really far using Supabase versus going to like a Google Cloud or an AWS or Azure, which are these enterprise grade cloud infrastructures that all the large platforms are on, like ChatGPT. Is on those, and Perplexity even runs theirs on these enterprise grade cloud infrastructures. All right, so we've uploaded those documents. We're going to go back and we went over the Lovable interface here. Okay, chat versus regular. So within Lovable, there's two ways to interact. One is to ask Lovable to do something and it'll immediately do it. The other way is to use the chat function. So chat without making edits to your project. So if we click that, you can chat back and forth with Lovable just like the AI assistant, but this uses tokens. And I did get the educator discount here for the workshop. So I have 102 tokens left. But if I were to ask a question to Lovable on the chat, with the chat feature engaged, then that would cost maybe around a half a credit up to 1 credit. If I ask it to do something, it's going to go anywhere from 1 credits to 5 credits. And so usually after each time I do something, I look here at the credits just to understand what each of those builds are doing. And each time I submit something, it's editing the code. And so all of these different files that are in here that are also over in our GitHub are being edited by the Lovable AI. And anytime that you edit something, it's also updating it in our GitHub automatically. Okay, now the first one that we're going to ask is we're going to have it, analyze the uploaded documentation files and create an implementation plan for the AI image forum. I'm going to add one additional prompt here. It's not something that I had updated in the presentation, but it's how we're going to generate these images. So to generate images, you have to use one of these image generator models. So ChatGPT has one, Gemini has, or Google has one. There's Stable Diffusion, which again gives you those credits. So I'll just head over to Stable Diffusion right now so that Stability AI. So that's stability.ai. Or maybe this is the wrong one. So it is stability.ai. I'm just going to sign in here. We're going to accept. We're going to go to the API keys. You can see in the account, I have 8 credits left. So it gives you 10 credits to start with. So that's another, while we were setting up the other accounts, that's one step I missed here, is that you want to set up the stability.ai account. So that's just stability.ai, and you'll get that account ready. So we'll just go back over here to Lovable now, and we're going to say analyze the uploaded documentation files. Actually, we're going to say analyze. We are using stability.ai for our image generation API. Here are the file names I want you to analyze for reference. And now if I open the code here, I can go in here and I can click this button to the right, which is reference file in chat. All right, so this is the first time I'm prompting the Lovable. Again, I've said analyze the uploaded documentation files and create an implementation plan for the AI image form. We are using Stability AI for our image generation API. Here are the file names I want you to analyze for reference. All right, now we're going to click enter, and it's going to review those documents. And now we have some time, I think, for any questions. Yes, you get 10 credits for free when you sign up. Yes. Kind of. But I'm not sure if Figma has a feature where you can like tie whatever you're building to a domain name and then push it live, or connect that project with a database that is then managing. I believe that Figma is mostly just for the design side, with just the UX, I think. Whereas Lovable does all of the UI, the UX, the actual coding behind whatever that UI, UX is. It allows you to integrate with the other platforms like GitHub, so that you can keep your code repository. It allows you to connect to Supabase, which is this basic database. It's not actually that basic. It's it's a pretty robust database system. And it already, they've grown the platform so much that it already knows how to do a lot of things in terms of building apps. It is specifically for web apps. It's not for like a mobile like iOS or Android apps. I don't believe they have a feature where it's like needs to be like React Native for iOS and Android. It's specifically, I think, for web deployment. Yeah. I'm not sure. Actually, Supabase has that functionality. Yep. Yeah, so we already connected it. You do. We will. That's all through Supabase. And so if you're curious about how you design it, how you manage it, how you change it, all of that's in the Supabase documentation.
Can you connect Figma interface design?
I don't believe so, not right now. There's no integration directly with Figma. What you can do is you can upload images of your designs into Lovable and say, here's a reference image of what I want it to look like. And so then it'll have that kind of design system. You can also, I'm not sure what the export file types are on Figma usually.
But when I try to connect like the AI interface Figma with the like when I try to generate the flow, I think you can only export it if you have like the premium version or something. So
Got it.
it's very tricky to understand what it provides because it does not provide much on the free version.
All right, we're gonna keep moving. I'll have to. We'll take more questions at the end, but I want to make sure we at least get to kind of like a milestone of having the auth set up here. So here we see now, based on my analysis, I can see this is a well-structured MVP for an AI image form. Let me create a comprehensive implementation plan. Auth flow, image generation, prompt screen, forum, dark theme, members-only access. So we have the design system. Phase 2 is the database. Phase 3 is the edge functions. Phase 4 is the page structure. Phase 5 is the auth. So we've got all these different phases. We're going to copy that because we don't want to lose it. We're going to go back over to our AI image forum documentation, and we're going to say implementation plan. So we've got this here. I deleted the top there, and I'll delete the bottom. I'm going to now download this page as Markdown. I'm going to update the name of this to implementation plan. And I'm going to go back to GitHub and I'm going to upload that implementation plan into my repository so that the AI can always reference it. Because if I don't do that, Lovable doesn't automatically write a file for me. I could ask Lovable, oh, write this into an implementation document in my code. But then that's taking more tokens. So I'm going to do that myself. I'm going to upload the implementation plan here. I'm going to go back to Lovable, and I can see now that I've added that implementation plan into the GitHub, and I'm going to say for reference, the implementation plan is in the files with, actually it should be, I've uploaded the implementation plan with this file name. Be sure to refer back to it as you are building. What I'm also going to go do now is I'm going to go to the top left here, which allows me to then go into the settings of the project. And I'm going to go to the knowledge here. And here I can add custom knowledge about my project. And so I'll go back over here. And I'm going to copy this document. I'm going to say refer back to the file as you are building. Never go outside of the scope of the Implementation plan, do not add any additional features. Okay, this is pretty important, but still it's going to try to creep outside of these boundaries. AI has that tendency to kind of think on its own and do things that we don't tell it. And that's called like a hallucination. And unfortunately, still there's no remedy for these hallucinations as we're using the AI. That's why it's important to always be keeping a close track on what we're building, understand what has been built, understand what we want to build, so that we can, push it back in the right direction when it goes outside of the bounds of what we want.
Just like slightly different questions. So what do you think is the fundamental cause behind these hallucinations? Like,
That's way beyond my head. Because I think right now, though, as it's been explained to me, is that still like the AI is like a black box. So we don't even actually know what and how it's working inside of there. Maybe some of the other technical people in the room that have a better explanation would give a 30-second. The question is, why does it hallucinate? Why does AI hallucinate?
too many interconnections. Fine.
Yeah, exactly. So now AI can make a sentence, but you cannot support separate.
Okay, so we're going to get back. Sorry to interrupt. I think I want to make sure we try to stay on track here. We can connect afterwards. And what we're going to do next is we've uploaded the implementation plan, and we're going to turn off the chat feature here. And I've given a prompt here is I've uploaded the implementation plan with this file name. Be sure to refer back to it as you're building. Now, begin implementing the plan. So according to the Lovable documentation, it says that if you add some of that knowledge or instructions in the knowledge base, then it will give more guardrails to how it works. Yeah. All right, so it's going to start implementing the plan beginning with phase 1, design system and Tailwind configuration. So this might take some time, so maybe we could hear a little bit more about the hallucinations.
Working on probabilities.
Says that, okay, then you have to teach it what is the meaning. So if we humans, we do reinforcement learning on top of the models, base models, and we tell, okay, this is right, this is wrong. Sunrise is in east, okay? Yeah, it can also make a sentence like a sunrise in west. Who decides that? Where does the sun rise from? So we humans decided that let's call this direction east and the other one west. The English grammar does not stop you from changing east to west. But humans decided, no, let's call east east and west west.
So quick interjection. We've just gotten a reply back here from Lovable that's saying phase 1 is complete now, implementing phase 2, database schema and Supabase setup. So it's now asking to modify the database, and we're going to go ahead and allow this. So if I was actually putting more guardrails on this, I would review exactly what it's modifying in the database. And maybe even I would copy that and I'd go back to ChatGPT and I would say, here are the suggested modifications as I'm building the database. Does this make sense? Or offer me any suggestions to improve it. And then ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini may say, no, don't do that. Or, update it this way.
Yeah, so to continue, it's a sentence maker. Two, the meaning has to come out from us. We have to decide what is right and wrong. So a lot of people taught it what is right and wrong as per humans, and that's what it is, just giving you back.
Yeah, I got this one. How does this relate with hallucination?
Yeah, so if in some cases it doesn't know that this makes sense or not, it will simply reply back with a sentence.
He'll understand.
Then you as a human realize, oh, this does not make sense.
Okay.
Even if it's a perfect.
This won't be on.
Yeah, it is
Actually,
perfect English.
we'll wait because I'll keep going here. Yeah.
So the truth and false is decided by humans.
Okay, so now we've gotten the next prompt from Lovable, which is asking for the stability API key. So we signed up for stability. If you go to platform.stability.ai/account/keys, you're going to get to your API keys. Then you want to create the API key. This is another point where you want to understand the importance of security. API keys are something that should never be shared. And if you know that your API key has been exposed, then you want to change the API key. Because, for instance, we're using this API key we are getting charged for this API key. So if it gets exposed and somebody takes it, they can compromise the system. And so again, that's another really important aspect here of what we're doing. So we're going to copy that. We're going to go over to Lovable, and everybody close their eyes. No, just kidding. So we're going to paste it in here, and we're going to submit. Yeah. So Lovable didn't create the API key. Stability created the API key. So again, that's why it's so important to have somebody technical on your team, because storage of API keys and where you're keeping them, and if you have them on your local development, or you have them in the cloud, or you have them in your code base, it's a risk. And if you're not coming from a technical background and you're not sure where in your files that might be, then you can compromise the entire project. Right. So if we now go into Supabase, the project folder, and we go to Edge functions, and we go to secrets. Nope, it's not showing up there. Let's see, we'll go to database first. Okay, so you can see here, this is what we've built so far. This is rather what Lovable has built in our database. And so we're looking at the schema visualizer. So we have profiles and we have posts, okay? We can also see where we have the database tables here. This is the post tables, which is 5 columns, and our profiles table, which is 3 columns. We have functions, handle new user, triggers. And so all of these things, again, you would want to go through one by one. If you're not familiar with what the features are, you can go through here one by one. And there's a shortcut here to the docs. So if we click that docs, it tells us exactly what that feature within Supabase is doing. And so as you're upskilling, as you're learning about how the database is working, just click that docs icon, and you can read up a little bit about what's going on there. All right, so we are now up to phase 5. So Edge function created, now implementing phase 5 authentication. Authentication components created, now implementing. See, now it's changed its wording. It's calling these pages 6 through 8. So Not sure if it's already hallucinating. I think we're about to find out exactly what it's doing, but let's see. And all hope for the best, please. So we can go back over here into our GitHub also. We'll refresh this. All right, we've got something. Something has come out here. We have AI image forum. We've got create and share AI generated art. Join our community of creators. Generate stunning images with AI and share them in our forum. Discover what others are creating and get inspired. All right, pages 6 through 8. Landing, prompt, and forum pages. The core MVP implementation is complete. Here's what we've built. Dark theme, design system, policies, stability AI, complete authentication flow, landing page with hero section, prompt page for AI image generation, forum page, responsive grid, protected routes, and verification. Important next steps. Enable email confirmation in Supabase auth settings. Required for verification flow. Ensure you have a valid stability.ai API key configured. Test the full user journey. Sign up, verify email, generate image. Okay, so now it's prompting me. Configure the auth settings, manage secrets, or view the function logs. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to configure the auth settings. This is how someone's going to sign up here. So it looks like user signups allow new users to sign up. We have that signed in. We have enabled email as a form of authentication. Within Supabase, it allows you all of these other features, all of these other authentication providers, phone, Apple, Azure, Google. But as soon as we start to add all of these different authentication providers, it's going to get a lot more complicated because each of these authentication providers require their own set of systems that you abide by in order to get access to their sign-in. So if I try to set up a Google thing, it's not as simple as just saying, okay, let me get some Google login. You have to go over to Google. You have to make sure that you're registered on Google and that you've opted into all of their terms and services. So it's going to extend the build time. That's why we've opted into just using email. It's simple, and Supabase manages it. Okay, within here, sign in. We have emails. So this is the email that the user is going to get when they sign up. Now, what we can do here, if we want to spruce it up a little before we get going, so I'm going to copy all of this. And I'm going to go back to ChatGPT. And I'm going to say, create a very basic stylized email confirmation HTML for the platform based on the following format for the email confirmation. So I've copied Supabase's, within Supabase, I'm in the authentication page. Now under authentication, we have a configuration of emails. This is the email that the user is going to get when they sign in and they enter their email address. So I've copied the format here. I've gone back over to ChatGPT and I'll copy this. Let's see what it does. And we'll preview it. And that's not working. Let's think. Okay, that's not working. So we're going to cancel this. We'll go back to the basic email. And let's now test the platform. All right. So I'm going to put in my email address. I'm going to sign in. Oh, okay. So sign in, it's not working because I haven't signed up. So we'll go over here, create account, email, password. Please check your email to verify your account. Now we'll go over to my email. I got the email. Something's working. I'll click confirm your email. Let's see if that worked. I don't think it did because it said invalid token. Oh, sign in successful. All right, so we're in. So we've created the front end, a basic landing page. Let me close out some of these windows. Make sure. So we started the development, we let the AI code. All right, now we're back here to the AI image form. So let's see if this is working. So auditorium with a presenter in front of a screen speaking to the crowd. Edge function return. So edge function is where the what we've just asked to do, generate, sends a message to the database over here in our edge functions to generate an image. Here we can see that we just sent this message, this function, to generate an image, but it's not working. And why? Nope, we've got our stability API key there, but not sure what happened. So what we'll do is we'll go back here and we'll say, login is working, but I just tried the generate button and the image wasn't generated. We'll just make sure that we have the secrets here. We have the stability API key. And we'll say, it looks like the stability API key is in the secrets of the Supabase. Oh, please fix this. So let's see how it comes back here. Looking at the edge function labs, there's a critical error. Error in generated, range error, maximum call stack size exceeded. This is happening at line 68 of the edge function, which the error is handling. The problem is in how the base 64 conversion is being done for large images. It's causing a stack overflow. Let me check the current edge functions. The problem, here's the current code. This fails because they're typically too large, the spread operator. The solution, we need to convert the array buffer to base 64 in chunks instead of all at once. Here's the fix. Problem, root cause, changes required. All right, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to turn off the chat. We're going to implement the plan. Let's see if it can fix itself. while that's hopefully fixing, maybe we can get a quick selfie mid-workshop. Let's see if I can find. Cool. All right, fix. The edge function now processes images in 32 kilobyte chunks to avoid Stack Overflow. Let's go back here and let's try to generate again. Will it work? No? What's the problem? Hey, look, there we are. Okay, so we've generated an image. And that's the speaker there. There's no speaker behind the lectern. So we've got this. All right, we've made an image. Now, the next test, is the posting to the forum going to work? So let's test this out. Posting. Failed to post. All right, we've got another bug. There's always bugs. And so what are we going to do? Let's click it again, just in good faith. Maybe it was a fluke. No, it wasn't. Something's happening. All right, so we'll go back to Lovable. We say it's generating. But now when I click post to forum, it's, what was the error here? Failed to post. It's giving me a failed to post error. Please fix it. Okay, let's see. We have 20 minutes to fix this. Looking at the Postgres logs, I see permission denied for table users error. The RLS policy on the post table is trying to access authenticated users directly, which isn't allowed. I'll fix this by updating the RLS policies to use JWT claims instead. All right, should we do it? Yes, all right, let's go. This is democratic vibe coding. Let's go back to our stability API. Oh, we are almost out of credits here. So, anybody know any other free image generation APIs? Gemini has a free one. Oh, no, it's using stability. Oh, you use the, did you use the Lovable database? Uh-huh. Amazing. Okay. Okay, so look, it looks like it's fixed. The RLS policies were trying to access the authenticated users. I've updated them. Okay, let's go back over here. Let's post a form. Failed to post. Let's refresh. Maybe, well, now I'm out of credits. So let's figure out, I'm out of stability credits. Can you connect Gemini? So we're going to switch over to Gemini. Did it make you create a Gemini API key or it did it automatically? It did automatically. All right. So now you're bug testing the posting. Did you get the same error that we got? You got a credit error. Oh, you ran out of credits of Lovable. Okay. I'll switch the image to use Gemini, Lovable AI instead. Done. I've switched the image generation to use Lovable. It's currently free to use and the Lovable API key is already configured. Okay, let's go back over here. A room, an auditorium with blue and orange seats and a speaker on stage with a projector behind. Let's generate. Will it work? All right, here we are. You can clap, it's all right. It forgot the people. We didn't tell it about the people, did we? There's a speaker on stage, though. All right, the moment of truth. Post to forum. Failed to post. Should we click it again or try to bug test already? Bug test, all right. Oh, great. It's working, but now posting to forum is still not working. Please fix. It's checking the logs. I'll fix the RLS policies. The JWT check for email confirmation might not be working correctly. Since the app already enforces email verification, we can simplify the policies. Any suggestions from the expert? It works. All right. All right, thank you. Did it take one or two fixes? Did you have it bug, did you have it fix the bugs on its own or? All right, it's fixed. I've simplified the workflow. All right, let's see if this is gonna work. Hey, here we are. And we've got the forum. Okay, so we've got an image here, but we're missing a sign out. We don't have a profile. We don't have anything else here. And so from here, what can we do? Well, we can create another image. And where can we go from this page? We're also stuck here, or we can go back to the forum. So what do we want to do? We need to create a simple sign out. We are missing a sign out. Or what we can do is, yeah, we'll just, let's see how many. Okay, so we're down to 91 credits, 92 credits. We started at 102, 103. So we spent about 10 credits. That cost $12.50. So, about what, 10 cents? 10 cents a credit or 1 cent a credit? 1 cent a credit. Am I getting that right? 12.50 divided by no, multiplied by, someone help me with the math here. How much this costs? So 12.50 credits times divided by 100 is, and then times about 10 credits. It costs about $1.25. It costs about $1.25 to get this far. All right, so let's go back to the presentation. So from here, what would we do? Well, we could, keep updating the app. We can check the features. We needed to add a sign out page, right? What other features could we have? Well, we go back into our PRD, have it post there, share. We could create profiles so that you can add a profile image and a name to the image that we uploaded there. You could have moderation. We can't delete the post right now. They're just there permanently. So we could add a delete function. We could add the admin panel so that we could then sign in without going into the database and deleting a file in the database. All of those things we could add. So a lot of different options to go from here. And if we go back to here, understanding the generated code. So if we go back into, so the last part we can look at here is publishing. So here we can publish the app. We're going to publish. All right, we are published. So any of you can now go to ai-image-forum.lovable.app. You can test the app and check it out. We'll go back over to our GitHub here, and we can see all these different things. So we could go through that. src/components. That is our reusable user interface, like our buttons, our forms, our navigation. src/pages are the different pages that we have. src-styles. So we can go in and we can learn exactly what is our code. How does it look? Let's go into src. Let's go into pages. So we can see all of those different pages. Go into index. So if I edit this, we're in the index page. Join our community of creators. Yay. Let's add a yay there. Let's commit those changes. We're editing the code. We're becoming coders, vibe coders. All right, so we've edited that. Now let's go back. We'll have to open a incognito page because we can't sign out. ai-image-forum.lovable.app. Oh, I have to update it. So we go over here, or maybe not. It should. Let's see if we update. So we haven't done anything inside Lovable. We've just edited the code on our GitHub. And it's not showing up. So not sure what's happening there. But we're not going to get too far into the bug testing here. So again, one thing to note here is that if you're using both Lovable and GitHub, then you're having to update on Lovable also and publish on Lovable. There's other ways to get around this, such as Vercel. Vercel is another way to push your website live. So that's, again, it's a free platform. We can go to Vercel down here. You can sign in. You can sign in with your GitHub account, so it's automatically attached to any of those repositories. We can connect those repositories. If we add a new project here, we can look for this AI image forum, and we'll import this. We'll change the name to just AI forum, and we're going to deploy it. Now, what this should do is, if we update the GitHub, it should automatically update the deployment. So that edit that we made should automatically be pushed live to whatever domain that we're setting up here on Vercel, versus having Lovable then check the GitHub code and then us having to hit publish on Lovable. It's all getting very convoluted now, but just for the sake of explaining this, we can see here. Now we'll continue to the dashboard, and we can see that the yay is there. So now if we were to update any code on GitHub, we have another deployment of our site. So what is a deployment? A deployment is the live version of the platform. So right now, Lovable is hosting a live deployment of the platform on Lovable system. And also we have a live version of the platform on Vercel, which is basically a free deployment platform where you could, update your code. It'll go live. It also has a free version, a paid version, where all different features. Okay. So I think we're going to start wrapping up here. We understand the code. We talked about editing in Lovable, reviewing on Supabase. So if we go back to Supabase and we go to the logs, and we can go to the edge functions. Here are all of the edge function logs. So anytime that we were doing something on the website, on the platform, it's now registering those into the logs. So you can see the last one was a post here. All right. This is when we were in Lovable and we were getting those errors. What it was doing is it was checking the logs. And what's so great about Lovable and Supabase together is that you don't have to go in and manually update things in your database. So if you're not a backend engineer or a front-end engineer, you can, again, make these small proof of concepts to get you, pretty far to test a platform. You can also see here an auth. Here's all the different auth logs. For Supabase, so once you start having more robust platforms, more users, more logs, more edge functions, you're going to hit a limit. And so I can't remember exactly what the precise limits are to the data that you're using or the functions that are being passed through, but you'll hit a limit when you start scaling. And so that's when you have to go from the free version to the paid version. You also have a limit of how many projects you can have live. I think in the free version, you can have 3 live projects. If you want more live projects under one account, you can't. So open up a new account. If you're just playing around, right? If you're just testing. So all of this I have actually learned in the last 12 months. And how did I learn it? I just kept doing it over and over and over again. Building these simple forums or fitness tracker apps. You can even Google what are the simplest apps that I can build as a new coder that include auth and some features, basic features with database structures. You can have projects for yourself.
Can we build something for us as a part of the next couple of hours, some small version of it?
Absolutely, but we do have a demo forum. Like AI demos are being presented at 4 o'clock. So I would love if we all hang out. We'll see. I don't know. Maybe we'll get only a couple people that show up to demo their things, or maybe we'll have, I think 8 people registered to demo. So it'd be great if we could support them and check out what they're demoing. But we can have, what we're going to do is we're going to keep having these coding co-working sessions. And the goal is, as we build up these amazing community with the help of House of Starts and PDEU and eChai, and VentureStudio and Plug and Play and Gift IFIH, and more people are coming on board. Then we'll go from 30 people to 300 people. And then that's when things really get interesting, because then we can make groups. We can have hackathons, one-day hackathons, where we're all building together, and we'll have one problem statement. Let's create this, or let's try to hack that.
One more quick question.
Yeah.
We build something in the next 1 week
Yeah.
and get stuck up somewhere.
Yes.
Where we can get hold of people who can help us.
Yeah. So right now, I hope that you connect with each other. I hope you exchange numbers. I hope you exchange LinkedIn's. And I'm one of these ecosystem enablers in Ahmedabad. So I love connecting people. And I think as you come to these events, we're always working with each other, and we're always ready to support. You can go even on the eChai website and you'll see other builders there. You can reach out to them, or you even use LinkedIn as a way to connect with people. And after this, you say, "Hey, I'm building something. Do you want to meet up and you want to tinker together?" Well, there's so many groups. I don't know if we want to create another group, but maybe we will create a coding co-working group. I guess it's time to do that. So we have everybody. Thanks everyone for signing up. First of all, we have your details. We're going to send. First of all, we'll be sending out a feedback form. And so in that feedback form, I guess since we can never have too many WhatsApp groups, we're going to make one more. And then we'll all be on there together, swimming in the same tank in the same ocean, and we can connect with each other. And we're going to keep having these once a month. So last month we had it at VentureStudio. This month we have it at Plug and Play. Next month I think we may have it at House of Starts. Maybe we'll have it at PDEU. And I think more and more people are going to join these workshops.
Is that different usually, or is it?
No, it's pretty. So far, it's been. Hey, come connect. You bring your computer if you want to send some emails. Most people are coming to connect with people. Chai, coffee, snacks. Workshop in the afternoon. Last one, we built a fitness tracker app. So there's no AI in the last one. This one, I mean, we used AI to build it, but there was no actual AI function in the app. This one, I was like, oh, why don't we create the simplest version of an AI-enabled app? And so this is what I had thought of, like we can make a image generation for them. And hopefully nobody will get my API flagged by putting in some weird prompts about the images. And yeah, the next one we'll get, it may be like a vibe coding one, or maybe it's like an AI tools one. Maybe we'll include probably a question in the feedback form of like what you want to see at the next one. Yeah.
So we have Kapuro with us, Kapuro Bayani. He's a member of these House of Stats. So one of the guys who you can kind of bump into if you are stuck somewhere in between your journey.
There you go.
Yeah, he's part of the House of Stats, and we kind of tab around, play around with AI on a regular basis. So if you reach somewhere and you're stuck, not me. I don't understand it. He does. And the people with him who does. So
Yes. We couldn't do it without our partners. It's a team effort. So I'll just quickly go through a couple of the last slides here so that you know when you're reviewing them. This is just a little overview of what the backend in Supabase is, your authentication, edge function, storage, database. But again, you can find all this information in the documentation. The email templates, we tried to update those. We ran into a snag. And so next would be setting up, installing Node.js on your computer. That allows you to do some local development with in your command line. You also need Git if you want to clone your repository in order to do the local development. And then we talk about Gemini CLI, which is another coding tool, troubleshooting. Sorry, we're going fast now. I'm skipping over a cursor. There's also a way that you can connect Supabase to your command line. Okay, best practices. So you want to commit frequently. And committing means that you're saving your progress, basically. Next, you want to test the features as you build. So we went from, we tested the sign-in, then we tested the generation, then we tested the forum, and we slowly fixed any of the issues there. You want to keep your documentation updated. So again, we could go back in here. We wouldn't really want to waste credits through Lovable, but if we had another code editor where we were analyzing the entire code base, then we could say, update the README file. Or we can even do that now, just so you see that. We're going to say, create a README file for the platform. While that's building, so we have the resources here. So, okay, we created the documentation, the tech stack, we built the web app, the backend and authentication. We have version control with GitHub. We didn't get to the local development here. We made some code changes. So what are the next steps? We need to obviously fix the sign out because we're locked in the app right now. We probably would want to add a couple more features. We want to share that project, whatever we're working on. We want to share that with people. So we post, hey, here's my latest project on Lovable. You can share that on LinkedIn or Instagram. And you want to have people test it and build with you. So that's it. I'm going to copy this. I'll create a QR code. And here's the presentation in case you're interested to check out what we just did. And I do have the recording of this, so we're going to download that. We'll upload it to our YouTube channel, and we'll include the link in the feedback email that we send out to you. So I really hope that you enjoyed the session. I'm happy to hear any feedback in the email that we send out. And I'm just really excited that we're building this